What up, world? What up, media? This is Drewize. Good morning to you, YouTube, and this is Drewize Topics. Yeah, I'm recording this video in my little gym. I got some weights and two benches. I'm sitting on one of the benches right now. You know, I want to talk about this particular topic. Not to offend someone, anybody, but just get to the fact and truth how you look the way how you look that is ugly, not pleasant to look at, not appealing to look at. I'm gonna tell you how that came about, a little bit, do a little video. Okay, the reason why you look at certain people, they look the way how they look in appearance. This how I'm going to explain it, which is true. It is a fact. Science scientists have not done no research about it. But this is what I look at it as. How people look the way they look, what they call it, ugly people. I'm gonna explain it how people got that way, Okay, this is how it happens. How you look the way you look. And they say you're ugly. Number one, when your mother was carrying you in her womb, when she was pregnant with male or female. When your mother was pregnant with you, when she was carrying you. This is how it happened. The mother was pregnant with you. She was thinking negative all the time, always upset, always angry, frustrated, stress. And she was carrying you, when she was pregnant with you, she was eating the wrong, improper food, not the best food, the terrible food, wrong food. That's how people come out looking the way they look, and they get older in life. They look the way they look, because the mother was thinking negative all the time while she was carrying you, mad, upset, frustrated while she was carrying you. And when she was pregnant with you, she was eating the wrong food, the wrong food. So that sometimes that creates something that's not beauty. You might think I'm lying. You might think I'm like, Dre, what did you talk about, Dre? What did you talk about? But this is truth, But that could be reversed sometimes if you choose to work on yourself. Vision in your mind how you want to look. Because I seen people that I used to go to school with, high school, and some of them was butt ugly. You know what I'm saying? Ugly, hideous. I'm like, oh my God. And some of them, when I see them, they look a whole different person. They look nice and they pick themselves up. They worked on themselves, So that's how you see certain people look the way they look, because of some mother wasn't taking up the right things to do while she was carrying you, or two people that's unappealing, lay down, sit down, and make a child. And that's how you create a child that looks a certain way, looks unappealing, And they do say this. They say the more you talk about someone all the time, always talking about someone, saying negative things to someone, they say your child will come out looking a certain way. If you keep doing this to someone, talking about someone, making jokes about someone, making fun of someone, they say your child will come out looking a certain way. That's true. That is true. So I say this. If you're a person that is handsome or fine, man or woman, and you get with someone doesn't measure up and looks like you, and you lay down and sit down with that person, you know, and make a baby, make a child, do you know your child will sometimes come out looking funny looking strange looking, you know? They say you keep mingling, tingling with people that is unappealing, ugly, what they call it. You know, they say your kids gonna come out looking a certain way, looking funny looking, you know? Yeah, this is not to offend anybody, not like that, but this is truth, you know? So sometimes I see this all the time. You know, all the time. When I'm out in the world, out in public, I say, damn, why the hell you come outside? Why you leave the house? But I say to myself, that person can work on themselves. Do you know that if you work on yourself, you know what I'm saying, like exercise and eat the best proper food, do you know you can transform yourself? You know what I'm saying? You will look different. Your looks will improve. You know what I'm saying? What you think in your mind all the time, like I've been saying, what you think all in your mind all the time, your body will follow, you know? Your appearance will change, you know? Because I see some women I used to go to school with that was ugly, you know? Ugly. Now they got children. Now they look better, you know? Some women don't want to do that. Some women just like, I am what I am. I you know, don't want to fix themselves up. And when you call them women, you call them what? Basic, you know what I'm saying? Not standard, not exclusive, basic, you know? Not even basic, you know? But you have to work on yourself. You have to visualize how you want to look, you know? You have to, you know? But people don't see that. And I tell you something, like I told this, when I talked about this on my channel. What you think and what you eat can change your appearance. Food can change your appearance. Food, you know, particular food that you eat, you know, every day, that is not the best for you, you know. You eat that junk food, that can make you ugly. When you smoke and you drink and you do dope, that can make you ugly. You know, you grow in ugliness. When you smoke and you drink and you do dope and stuff, you grow in ugliness. Ugly, ugly, and ugly. For example, take a picture of yourself before you started smoking and drinking and doing dope. And take a picture now, currently, that you smoke and drink and do dope. I bet you're going to see the difference from this picture, from that picture. And you go say this picture that currently that you're smoking and you're drinking and doing dope, you go say I look ugly. For real, you will notice the change. You know, of course you can be birthed into the world not as a appealing child. You know what I'm saying? A cute baby, of course. You know what I'm saying? That came about. Some mother was carrying you. She thought negative. You know, frustrated, stressed, angry, wasn't eating the right food while she was carrying you. That's how some these people come out looking ugly. Or you can smoke and drink and do dope. That's how you grow in ugliness. Yeah, for real. I don't judge people. You know, because I see this every day. I see fine people, handsome people, you know, and I see ugly people. And I look at the ugly people and say, yeah, you know, You can change that if you work on yourself. You can change if you can work on yourself. Visualize in your mind how you want to look. You know, the mind is a very powerful thing. You know, the body follows what the mind does. You know, hey, that's what I think. You know, this is not to offend anybody, not whatsoever. But you got to think how you came out to be that way. You know, looking how you looking. You know, you gotta think about it. Just think about it. Yeah. Drewize Topics. I am Drewize. You can post a comment about what I just said if you like to. You know, this is real. This is real. You know, like, share, subscribe. I am Drewize. This is Drewize Topics. Peace.